to the Stick 'em Up podcast. Brundi, there's been a lot of a couple smaller things going on in the league, and man, we got a playoff series going on now. That's been a lot of fun to watch. I think one thing I would do want to start with quickly is we had a pretty big contract extension happen before last episode that we forgot to mention.
Yeah, we did. And I'm actually very excited to talk about this because I get to shit on someone, which we know is my favorite thing. And it's a guy that also deserves a lot of it because he's become uh, one of the top, hockey news reporter guys in the league, and has quickly become one of the worst because he joined the Edmonton Oilers franchise basically and panders to them. Frank Saravelli, who a little bit ago guaranteed that the Canucks would basically overpay for Filip Hronek and that his deal would 100% start with an 8. And he was wrong once again, like fucking nothing new. Filip Hronek ends up signing an 8-year extension with the Vancouver Canucks at $7.250 per year. I love this deal. I think it's a phenomenal deal.
Yeah,
Me personally.
Is it 7.2? I thought it was, or was it 6.2?
7.25.
Oh, 7.2. Okay. I love this deal. Honestly, if it started with an 8, I don't think I would hate it. Like
I wouldn't be
if it's
as
eight, if it's
crazy about it, but
8.5
I'd
or
still be
higher,
okay with it.
yeah, 8.5 or higher would be a bit much. But like 8, if it was 8 years for $8 million, I wouldn't hate it for him. You know, this dude, I mean, just put up an insane year beside Quinn Hughes. And he's young enough for that entire 8 years to be pretty good. But at 7.25, especially with the cap going up the way it is, that is very tidy work over in Vancouver. That is really nice. And I think that's going to age fantastically for them.
Well, and the thing is, right, when it first happened, I see a lot of people like immediately going to, oh, he's like, how can you sign him to a contract like that when he's a ghost in the playoffs and yada, yada, yada. First of all, he's 26, right? And so this deal takes him until he's 34. Like, it's not even like they're paying him like when Jacob Slavin signs his deal that's going to take him till he's 39. Like, it takes him till he's 34. And for the playoffs,
that's a great time for a long-term contract to end. That's like right as they're coming out of their prime. That's perfect.
And for the playoffs, I mean, it's his first time in the playoffs. He was on a shit Detroit team for, the start of his career. This was his first time of actually being in the playoffs. And you know what? He didn't do what he did offensively in the regular season, but he was pretty fucking good defensively in his own end. Like, he wasn't, an Aaron Ekblad or anything, but like, he was still very, very solid.
And he was probably told to, like, between Demko going down and after that, who was their backup? DeSmith? Yeah, Casey DeSmith going down. Like, you're on your third string goalie. You're going to need one of those top line, top minute logger defensemen to, be a little more defensive, help him out. And I mean, you're not going to ask that of Quinn Hughes, otherwise your offense will dry up. So I imagine he was told specifically to help hold down the fort as well during these playoffs. So yeah, I definitely think it makes a lot of sense. His numbers wouldn't have been as good.
And the first thing that I thought of when I saw the Filip Hronek deal was I was like, okay, this is basically like Devon Taves 2.0, which, funny enough, is actually the exact same deal Devon Taves got, the 7.250. And now, I mean, people are way more higher on Devon Taves, but it's also like, again, look, Devon Taves is playing with Quinn Hughes.
Yeah.
The same reason that I think Filip Hronek's game elevated. Cale Makar. Yeah. Because Filip Hronek's now with Quinn Hughes, and that elevated his game. And not only that, it made Quinn Hughes even better. It helped Quinn Hughes hit that next level. So it's like, basically, if you're saying the Filip Hronek deal is bad, you're saying the Devon Taves deal is bad. Because I really
They're very
view
similar.
Devon Taves and Filip Hronek as very similar players.
Yeah.
The only difference is Devon Taves is 30 right now. Filip Hronek is 26. Devon Taves' deal takes him till he's 37. Filip Hronek's only takes him until he's 33, 34 in that area. Like, it's so.
Yeah, I've seen nothing but people saying this is a great deal, and
I've seen the exact opposite. As I've seen people being like, this is such an overpay, but I'm like, considering it, all the rumors started by Frank Cervelli made everybody think that it was going to be an 8 by 8.5 and 8 by 9 or whatever. The fact that it comes in at this, the same as Devon Taves, I think that's an absolute steal for the Canucks.
It's a very nice deal for them.
And not
it's
only
nice
that,
now, and it's going to be at the end. It's going to be fine, probably.
Yeah, it's still not going to be a bad contract.
Like most of the big long-term contracts in the league for a lot of guys in their prime, it's like, all right, we're going to get 5-6 really solid years of value, and then the last few you kind of eat it, whatever. That's the trade-off, right? This one's looks like it's going to be good all the way through.
Yeah, and not only that, now you've got your guy that goes perfectly with Quinn Hughes for the next while. Like, you don't need when you get a stud defenseman.
It's nice to know what your 1D pair is going to be for the next
several
years. Like,
and not only
that's a solid
not only
anchor.
that, it's when you get a one of those like best of the best elite guys like a Victor Hedman, a Heiskanen, a Makar, a Hughes. I don't want to say Yossi because he wasn't like a top draft pick, like that was known to be a superstar. But it's like you want to find that guy that goes perfectly with them, that guy that you can pair with them. Even in Ottawa with Erik Karlsson, when we saw him get paired with Mark Mathot, of all people, like Erik Karlsson hit that next level and took off because he had a really, really, not elite defenseman, but he had a smart, reliable guy beside him, and that helped him. And so to have now Quinn Hughes there, coming in, he's not even in his prime yet, I don't think. Like, we've yet to see Quinn Hughes in his prime. But now that we know that he's got his defensive partner that's going to be with him when he enters his prime and then is in his prime, I think that's awesome. And the fact that, earlier in the year, it sounded like, Elias Pettersson won't re-sign. Filip Hronek's not gonna stick around. It was kind of a, you pay for him and then you're gonna have to move him. They got both of them locked in for 8 years and whatnot. So you know what? Good on the Canucks. And it reminds me of Winnipeg Jets, where everybody was like, Hellebuck's going to New Jersey, Scheifele's going to Boston, yada yada yada, and then boom, they signed their deals and they locked in, and then it's like, so there you go. Now you know that you've got your, like, Vancouver's got their core there now. They've got Miller, Quinn Hughes, Demko, Hronek, like Pettersson, like they've got them all there. The last one really is kind of Brock Besser, which I don't know what's going to happen there with him, but I like it for Vancouver. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, I think this is a great deal for them. Unless he like insanely regresses and doesn't work out with Hughes somehow. Like, I don't see this aging badly at all.
I just don't see a way that this age, at least not maybe when he's like 33, like maybe in the last 2 years, maybe sure, but like in it right now, based on what we've seen and whatnot, you can't make an argument that it's a bad contract or an overpay or anything. Like, you can say you're pissed off Vancouver got a sick deal on him, sure. Yeah. But to sit there and be like, oh, fucking Canucks got fleeced, bad deal, like, come on.
You're not going to find any comparable deals where this looks drastically worse.
Yeah, I don't think there's a deal you can put up next to this and be like, hey, actually, really you can't. Like, it's a good deal for the Canucks, and I think it's fantastic work by them.
Yeah. We got a couple other things to talk about. This one will be really quick. The Arizona Coyotes, the Arizona State Land Department press released that they are canceling, and it basically sounds like they're restarting the land auction for the land that Morello and the previous owners of the Arizona Coyotes, now the Utah TBDs, for them to build a new arena. It sounds like they did not have the permits to purchase the land or to be entered to purchase the land or to build an arena on it. Also, the land department came out and said that they are just doing this themselves. They have not even hired a land development lawyer. So they don't even have lawyers doing all this business for them. I guess they're just winging it. So no shit, it fell apart. That's fine. Nobody wants him to get another team. We want Arizona to get a team back. We want the Coyotes back, but we do not want it under this guy. There's a reason he's had so many problems. So don't want to talk about it very much or dwell on it, but looks like it'll take a bit longer to get a team back in Arizona. But when they get it back, it'll probably be under better management.
I don't think they get a team back. I think that's it. To be honest with you,
under
at this point now,
group,
I think it's wraps.
No,
like
they're gonna want it back.
Obviously, shitty ownership, shitty management, but it's the one guy that actually really wanted hockey in Arizona. I don't see someone coming in and forking out millions of their own dollars to take a chance of maybe getting a team there.
I mean,
and then especially being in Arizona where it's kind of proven that it doesn't. But that's different. That's Utah, and that's a guy that already owns the Utah Jazz, same arena, like everything there. Like you have to find someone who's willing to fork over millions and millions and millions of dollars to start up a new franchise in Arizona that proved that that it's not successful.
Yeah.
Just to take a flyer that maybe it'll work.
But it would
I just
work.
Don't
in my opinion, it solely didn't work because of management. I bet they could get in one of the arenas. I don't think the Coyotes potentially. I don't think they need a new arena. They've just been banned from multiple arenas because their CEO refuses to pay people on time and does bad business. Like,
but that's
this
the thing.
one
You
guy's
have to
just
go out
such
and
an
find
idiot
someone
that he's just ruined it all.
But you have to find someone with such fucking loaded pockets where they're willing to potentially waste millions and millions for a team to maybe happen in the league, to maybe work. You know, you got to find someone
there's always billionaires ready to throw money out there. Like, sports franchises are one of the easiest ways to make money. Look how much he's fumbled the fucking bag with Arizona. He bought it like 20 years ago for like, what was it, like $300 million or something? He just got a $2 billion payout after all of this shit. He fucked it so bad and still made over $1 billion.
They'd be an expansion team, right? So why wouldn't you go to, a Houston and Atlanta or one of the other places that have proven that they've got a big market there for hockey that wants
They could get ones in a lot of other places first. I could definitely see that.
I don't see a millionaire being like, you know what, I don't want to go to,
Arizona's a nice place to live.
Potentially, maybe a Canadian market or something, or one of these other ones that have had numerous support for and be like, now we're going to go back to Arizona. I just don't see it. I think they see way more opportunities and way more revenue at multiple other places that Arizona just kind of becomes a second thought now. Like, as much as I would love the Coyotes come back, I've always been rooting for the Coyotes and wanting them to succeed and become a big market in the league and prove that it works. But I just don't see,
they have every advantage there. The only thing they had was an incompetent owner, like the no tax, the beautiful weather, a pretty decent population. They have so many other pro teams there. It's unfathomable how this guy fumbled the bag.
I'm a Arizona Cardinals fan. Like that's my NFL team. So I totally see that hockey or not, just sports markets can work in Arizona and whatnot. But again, it's just a thing of like, it's not going to be, the Utah team going back to Arizona if they get team. It's going to be a full expansion team, whatnot. And at that point, it's like, when you've got all these other markets that I think probably would thrive more at this point now, and also make more sense based on, availability for arenas and whatnot. Like it's just, again, I would love to see the Arizona Coyotes come back, but again, based on the other markets, whatnot, I don't know.
That's fair. I definitely think Houston probably gets a team first. Very possibly Atlanta as well.
I want another Canadian team. Give us a Halifax team. Give us a Saskatchewan team or something, because those would fucking bang.
Saskatchewan team would be so good.
Those would bang in this league.
I would love it.
And anyone that says otherwise, you're wrong. Yeah. You put another team in Canada, and I think the two that make, Quebec City, sure, maybe, whatever. A team way out on the East Coast, like a Halifax team or a team in Saskatchewan, I think would fucking bang in this league.
I think Quebec City and Saskatchewan, you could do Regina, but I would say just like do it like as a Saskatchewan, the entire province.
Yeah, you treat it like Colorado.
I think it would be so good.
You base them out of, probably Regina, because it makes the most sense. Yeah. And then, but you just have them be Saskatchewan.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that's the way to go. Personally, I would be shocked if in 10 years we still didn't have another Arizona or Phoenix team. But I
don't think I would.
At the moment, it looks like the idea is kind of dead in the water. Morello says he's going to try, but
remember, they only have 5 years.
Trying. Yeah,
they have 5 years.
And I think that's exactly why they've pushed it back a few years, because that's kind of out of reach for those 5 years, and they know that. And the land development people know that, so they're like, okay, this will get them to go away, because they want to sell the land, but they don't want it going to this guy who is
They made it clear
trying
they
to do the
don't want
business himself.
Coyotes back.
You're trying to put together a hockey franchise, and you won't hire a freaking lawyer for the land development to talk to? Like, what needs to be said further than that?
Because the
he
Coyotes
just got $2 billion
would clearly win
from the NHL.
Well, the Coyotes would clearly win that auction. Like, if it went to the auction, like the Coyotes they would easily win that.
Yeah. They're purposefully
clearly postponed
torpedoing it because they don't trust this man. He's burned every bridge with every person in the entire state.
Yeah. Well, and Scott still made it very clear. They said, keep the Coyotes like the fuck away from us.
Yeah.
Keep it away. We do not want you anywhere near our city.
If he sold the rights to the franchise, I'd love to know what some of those places think about getting a team back under a completely new management group. If it would be like hesitant, would they welcome with open arms? Is it still get the fuck away? Who really knows?
Yeah.
But enough talking about all of that. We got a few other things. Do you want to talk about the Merzlikins comments?
Yeah. So I mean, there's really not much to say with this. Like it's pretty clear cut and dry. But new Columbus Blue Jackets GM Don Waddell, very early into his tenure there with the Blue Jackets, came out to talk about Elvis Merzlikins, who has requested a trade last season out of Columbus, and it wasn't possible due to his horrendous contract. And long story short, he said, let's be honest, nobody's going to trade for that contract. And I 100% agree. I see, people are upset about it, being like, man, you're really kind of bashing on your own player and, really kicking him while he's down and whatnot. But it's like, it's true. He's just being honest. Like, he's clearly already tried. Like, you don't come out and say that unless you've already done your due diligence and checked around.
I don't know. He hasn't been there for that long. I don't know if he's even
you don't come out and say that if you haven't tried.
I don't
because
think
this comment completely puts it to bed that he can't get moved. Like, well, because
exactly it puts it to bed.
GM
and it's hard to say
and whatnot. Like he's clearly gone out and been like, hey,
there's some
Merzlikins is available. Is there some kind of deal we can do anywhere? And nobody wants to take on his deal because it's a fucking bad contract.
Yeah, and it is a bad contract. I don't think anybody annoyed with this is going to dispute the fact that it's not a good contract. I believe it's $5.4 million for the next 3 years. It's pretty rough. He can fill in sometimes as a starter, but he's mostly a backup at this point.
Well, exactly. Like, he requests a trade, but then he plays so shitty. Like, you can't request a trade and then still be just hot garbage in the net and be like, why doesn't anyone want me? Like, get me out of here. It's like, you got to fucking
Columbus isn't exactly a defensive stalwart. Maybe he's just not that guy. There's a very good chance that he's not that guy and he can't play to that level. But
you say that. But look at Chicago and San Jose. Peter Mrazek and Mackenzie Blackwood both had fucking phenomenal seasons in front of absolute garbage teams.
Yeah.
Even the Anaheim Ducks, Lucas Dostal looked like a stud in front of a garbage team. Like, you can't request a trade, but then, play as bad as you do. And then...
Well, I think he wants a trade because he's playing bad. He wants a fresh start. I don't know. A lot of people are taking it. A lot of people are taking it like his ask for a trade as if he's saying "fuck Columbus, I hate it here." Like,
no, it's definitely not that.
Bro just wants a clean start. I don't know. I see a lot of people hating on him, and it's like,
at that point, then just request for a contract termination.
And I have
I get you're leaving money.
That's just brain dead. Like, where he's not going to say no to millions of dollars.
No, but I get you're leaving a lot of money on the table, but you're not going to get out of Columbus if you're on your current contract. You have to ride it out.
I haven't seen him complaining. Unless I'm just not aware, I haven't seen him going around complaining that he's
no. It's not like he's complaining, but it's like you're not going to get moved if you want out of Columbus so bad. You're not going to get out on your contract. Yeah. Like, with this deal and the way you're playing, unless Columbus attaches, I mean, you'd have to attach a first round pick, which
no
with Columbus, I mean, it's like, that's. you can't give up a first round pick at where your franchise is at, but
No.
that's probably what you have to pay to get rid of him. It's the same area as a Jack Campbell contract. 3 years left at, around $5 million. Like that's what you'd have to give up. Or either that or a really good prospect, which I mean Columbus does have
obviously
that,
they wouldn't. Yeah. Why give up a prospect or something like that to move a guy just for his sake? Yeah. I don't
when
think
you're also not contending anytime soon.
Yeah, it's not an easy deal to move, and I don't think they really even have to. It's just more a lot of people are. I've seen a lot of people bashing on Merzlikins, and it's like, I think it's fair he asked for a trade. If he was complaining and being like, "Why haven't I been traded yet?" and if he was in the media making a shitstorm about it, I would definitely feel less sympathetic towards him. But yeah, right now, he just asked for a trade. It didn't happen, and it sucks for him, but he's probably going to have to stay there for the majority of the contract unless he really ups his game and get dealt at a deadline, probably with retention, even if he has a bounce back year.
Yeah, he would need to play phenomenal next year, get moved at the deadline, and then again, yeah, it would have to come with a retention.
Yeah, which wouldn't handicap them for too long. They're not going to be competing in 2 to 3 years, but at the same time,
well, that's the thing, right? If you're Columbus,
takes up a retention spot.
It doesn't matter. You take the retention over having to give up an asset to move him.
Yeah,
and still, then even though looking around, like there's no team that's going to be at the deadline next year. It's like, in a position like the LA Kings were or the New Jersey Devils, where it's like we're a contender. Like we've got a team built for a cup run. We just need a goalie. No team's gonna be like, hey, let's go get Merzlikins at 50% retained, and that'll be our guy. Like, Merzlikins, I don't see being a starting goalie for a cup content team. Like he'd be a phenomenal backup, but he's not a guy you can ride through the playoffs and be like, this is a guy that's, going to get us to a cup. So
if he really catches some magic, I could see it in some world because he did have some promise for a good bit. There's a reason he got that deal, but it does not look likely right now.
He's taking the Corpusalo route.
It's not near likely enough to trade for him, hoping for that. It would be a surprise if it happened.
Yeah, he's taking the Corpusalo route. He came in when he was, kind of younger, just stood on his head, got a big payday. It looked like he was a good goalie, and then all of a sudden it's like holy shit, what happened now? Like he's like we've seen the potential from him, but we haven't seen it in quite some time. And
yeah,
but again, just like Corpusalo, I don't think Merzlikins is going to be a starting goalie for a cup winning team. So if they can find a way to retain 50% at some point and ship them off, I say just do it. Just to get it off your books, get the whole situation out of the way, and then you can kind of just move forward. But Merzlikins, if he wants out, he has to up his game. That's really what it comes down to.
Yeah,
because Columbus can't do much with what he's been doing. Like it's basically it's got to be a conversation between the coach, the GM, and the player, and be like, hey man, we understand you want out. That's totally fine, but you need to play better. So we have people that are willing to trade for you.
Yeah.
Like as shitty as that is here for a player, that's what it is. And you know what? If people say, oh, that's mean to the player, there are numerous players that go to arbitration every year and they hear way fucking worse and they stick with that team long term afterwards. So.
There's a reason that every agent in the NHL recommends their player never go to arbitration. They say, we'll go to arbitration and argue for you. Please don't go. Because it's literally your team breaking down every bad thing you do in the locker room or on the ice to try and get your value down so they can get you for cheaper. While your agent gasses you up and says he does this, this, and this to try and get more money. It's
9 times out of 10, the team wins.
It makes sense business-wise, but it is a very wild practice.
It's a hectic process, but I will say 9 out of 10 times the team usually comes out on top with the deal.
Yeah.
Because the team has a lot more representatives and a lot more backing than just a player and his agent. So that's also another reason why they don't want, because the player gets bashed on and they don't get as good of a contract as a result of it. So
yeah.
But
I think that's pretty much everything we have outside of talking about these playoffs here.
It is. Yeah. Game 6 happened tonight.
Yeah, I'm just looking around and it looks like there's quite a few Oilers fans driving Zambonis around outside Rogers Place right now. I guess it's not too. I guess it's not too hard to go buy your own Zamboni.
First day of summer, longest day of the year, and people are ripping Zambonis downtown Edmonton.
It's NHL season, baby.
Is it ever?
Game 6 goes to the Edmonton Oilers in a 5-1 victory.
Come on, let's cut it short. 3-1. Like it's 2 empty net goals. It's basically a 3-1.
Yeah, 5-1 does not tell the story. They scored two empty net goals, pretty back to back at like, if I had to guess, like 3:50 left in the game, and then like 3:30.
I'd say they weren't far apart. Like it was like bing bing. Like
that fifth goal. It looked like the Panthers were going to score. It was 4-1. They had the net still pulled, or the goalie still pulled empty net. I think Kachuk or Bennett or someone made a move and kind of got around Skinner, and he kind of swung around and stopped it with his stick. It was a great stop, and then he poked it out to, I believe it was Matthias Janmark, who sent it down the length of the ice and got the second empty netter. Actually, I think it was that Ryan McLeod? Darnell Nurse got the other empty netter.
Nurse, yeah.
Yeah, great game by the Oilers. The Panthers didn't look out of this one for very long. But at the same time, they didn't, up until that final maybe 5-6 minutes, they didn't look like they had the urgency they need.
Yeah.
Like they played the entire final 20 minutes, even 30-35 minutes going into the second period in game 5, like they needed to win and they were trying to get back. They looked better in that game 5 in the back half than they did in this game. They didn't play with urgency until the net was empty, and one shot, and it's a 4-1 game.
And it all comes down to the second period. I think that's where, and I said it as soon as it happened. I said, all right, that's it. Game's over. It's wraps. And that's when Edmonton scored to make it 2-0, and then immediately,
10 seconds
later, the Florida Panthers scored to make it a 1-goal game again, and it comes back on that offside call, and then as soon as it happens, that's it for Florida. Like if it was a good goal, Florida has all the momentum from there on out. They're like, all right, we're in this 1-goal game
out of the arena.
Yeah,
after they just scored and they came back and scored. And they got most of it back when that goal comes back. And I haven't looked online. I haven't seen people's reactions. I hope nobody's too upset about the call, because I watched quite a few replays. I haven't seen any alternate angles really, but every replay I saw, it looked really close. I thought it was a total 50-50.
From everything they showed
frame by frame,
during the game,
I couldn't tell.
It was... Because they would break it down. It'd literally be frame by frame. And it would be in one frame, it's like the puck's just starting to cross the blue line. I think it was it Reinhardt or Barkov's skate? One of the two.
I think Verhaeghe was going over the line and Reinhardt had the puck.
No, Verhaeghe had the puck.
Verhaeghe had the puck. Then I think it was Reinhardt going over the line.
Okay, so I was pretty sure it was Reinhardt, but someone told me it was Barkov. But I was like, I'm pretty sure it's Reinhardt.
Barkov is the one who cleaned it up at the end and scored.
The puck was coming across the blue line just as the skate was, and it was in one frame, it was the puck is just coming over as the skate, and then next frame, it's boom, they're both over.
Yeah.
And it's so...
We need a frame in between these frames to be able to properly tell, it felt like. And it felt like such a toss-up to me. I kind of thought it might go the Panthers' way because it was inconclusive almost, but some angles it looked like it was totally offside, and some it really didn't at all. I assume they had other angles probably at better frames per second as well. That'll get released probably in a week for some reason. But
I got to imagine there was.
I'm glad they took their time. I'm glad they took a decent bit. I know people hate the long reviews, and trust me, I get it. But in a game that will now be a 2-1 game in the Stanley Cup Finals, Game 6, you have to get that. It wasn't even that
long of a review.
It really wasn't. It was maybe 3-4 minutes. But I'm glad they didn't go look at the iPad for 30 seconds and then say, "Fuck it, let's make a call."
The one thing I will say, though, is because I thought it in that moment when I saw that play. And then I thought it later on in the game. Carter Verhaeghe has been fucking horrible since Florida's gone up 3-0. He has been by far the worst player on the Florida Panthers, and it's not even close. Like there's no one you can be like, oh, he's been bad. It's like Verhaeghe is on, like, he's on the top shelf. He's up there with grandma's cookies, and you can't reach him because they're so high up. Like, he is that far above every other player in the Florida Panthers for how fucking bad he has been.
Which is crazy because he's a guy with such a resume of being great, and especially in these clutch moments. So yeah, the fact that he's been, I mean, look at these last 3 games. -3, -3, -3. Is that even possible?
I didn't even look at that.
Oh God, this doesn't even have today's game up yet. So I don't know what his stats were today, but I guess games 5, 4, and 3, he was a -3.
He was a -2 tonight. But again, it's the whole that goal there. He could have easily, when you get it to the blue line there, you don't fucking cut across the blue line and be like,
he stick handled it back onto the blue line.
One hand on my stick, my other hand on my other stick, and I'm playing with it. It's get it across the blue line and then make a fucking play. He gets to the blue line. He's like, oh, watch me fucking, Wayne Gretzky this shit here and pull off a move. It's like, dude, get it across the blue line, then make a play.
They teach that in Pee Wee, in novice. Like,
exactly.
Get it over the line and then make your moves.
Yeah. So he pulls it back offside. Boom. Goal called back. 100% Verhaeghe's fault. It is not on Reinhart or anybody else. No. Numerous times on the power play, he gets it on the half wall. And he's like, watch me cut through the middle and, toe drag fucking, Johnny Gaudreau pick my bum or whatever. And he turns it over and immediately fired right back down to his own end. And then Florida takes a calendar year to get it out of their own end. So you kill off a quarter of the penalty right there for Edmonton, just by doing that. And I'm watching, I'm like, how is this a guy that we gassed up so hard to be a gamer for Florida, a phenomenal player, a guy that can steal the series for him potentially. And he has been playing arguably the worst hockey of his entire career. Like, it has been a tough watch.
Yeah.
And every time I see him on the ice, I'm like, holy shit, like this is not going to go well for Florida. Whereas it should be like, oh, Florida's got Verhaeghe out there. Like, they've got a chance. It's like, fuck, man, don't put him on the ice. Yeah. Like, you can't do that. The puck keeps
coming to him in dangerous spots, and I keep thinking, here it comes. Like, he's gonna rip one, or he's gonna find somebody backdoor, and he just keeps not making great plays. Like, looking at just in this Florida series, so he's got a goal and an assist, including an assist tonight. So he's only got those 2 points in 6 games. He was a +1, so he's at +2, -3, -3, -3, -2 tonight. What does that put his plus minus at? A -9 total? Like, that's rough for a guy who is he playing on Barkov's line as well?
Barkov is with Reinhart, and it's not Verhaeghe's with Tkachuk and Bennett.
Right.
Who the fuck is with Barkov?
Rodriguez maybe moved up there?
Oh, Roddy's with I think Roddy. Who's Roddy with?
He's usually on Tkachuk's line, isn't he?
Bennett and Tkachuk. Yeah, Verhaeghe's with Barkov and Reinhart.
How do you put up a -9 playing with Barkov?
Because what's Barkov been? I'm going to pull it up here.
I know they've been, obviously in this back half, Edmonton's been putting the boots to him a bit, but like, he was in that game 3 that they won against the Oilers. He was still a -3 with no points. So like,
Barkov, the last 3 games, -2, -2, -2. And to be fair, I'm not going to shit on Barkov because I do think Barkov's still playing because of that Draisaitl hit.
Yeah.
I don't care if people say he got hurt on that. Yeah, he got injured on that play.
I think so. His play changed after that, and I think he's still been playing good. I know people are saying he's bad or he's been a ghost. He hasn't been as noticeable. He's still doing well. He scored their only goal tonight, and he scored the one that got called back.
Yeah, I was going to say, he scored the 2 goals tonight for the Panthers. One got called back, but he still scored their 2 goals.
And he's very noticeable defensively still. Like, I don't think it's fair to say that he's been blatantly bad. But yeah, Verhaeghe, it's been a rough look for a bit, and he's got so many overtime winners in the playoffs. Game 7 points, like we'll see how much he shows up for Game 7 because I think it's going to be a great game.
It's worth noting also, this is, Edmonton wins this game 5-1, technically 3-1 because 2 empty net goals, but no points for McDavid. So the Panthers shut down McDavid and they still lose. And I texted it to you before we hopped on the pod here and everything. Edmonton is winning Game 7. I know I picked Florida to win the series. Edmonton is winning Game 7. And this is, the fact that it's a Game 7 on a Monday night fucking sucks. But it's the fact that we're going in, and honestly, Florida is not winning. Florida is done. Florida thought the series was won after they went up 3-0. No, they are. Look at the last few games. Florida has got pumped.
But look at the first 3. How could Edmonton possibly even win Game 4, less alone the next 3, right? Like
Edmonton outplayed Florida Game 1. Okay, sure, Florida outplayed Edmonton Game 2. Game 3, I think, was a 50-50 split.
And then this Florida team is 3 straight games and so elite. And Bobrovsky, if he can show up for literally 60 minutes,
but he can't.
I think I'm picking Edmonton, but I still think it's 100% pretty freaking close to a 50-50, in my opinion. It doesn't bode well for Florida for how they played the first 15 minutes of the third period, though. They needed to come out gangbusters, and they looked dangerous at times, but
here's the thing, though. Here's the thing.
But they did not break.
You're cheering for Edmonton. You're picking Edmonton. I'm cheering for Florida. And I'm still saying Edmonton's going to shit pump them in Game 7. I'm not going to get into details, but I bet an absurd amount of on Edmonton tonight, because it was like Edmonton is winning. Edmonton is winning this series. It is done. As soon as they won Game 5, it was like it's wraps. It's that just Florida thought it was done when they were up 3-0. They gave Edmonton, and when you give Edmonton with their guys even a little momentum, the same way Vancouver did, you're done. Same way Dallas did, you're done. LA Kings, they never had a fucking hope in hell with those. They had to rebrand. They had to revamp their entire franchise because Edmonton pumped them 3 straight years.
Edmonton, their starter was 100% as well for a bit. It was pretty rough over there.
Bet your life savings, bet your mortgage, bet your kids' college funds on Edmonton Game 7. You will not be disappointed, because I think the way this series has been going, it's always the away team is the underdog. So you're getting fucking great odds on Edmonton going into Game 7 when they're going to win. You need to jump, who is it? Scrooge? Was it Scrooge McDuck who dove headfirst into the pit of coins?
Yeah.
You got it. Yeah, Edmonton's the underdog going into Game 7.
I don't know. So I think betting too much on Florida to lose in a single game here is
Why? They just got bent over and spanked in front of the public 3 straight games.
Edmonton
They've been awful.
Edmonton was 31st by American Thanksgiving.
St. Louis was 32nd,
so much.
31st.
You can point to so much.
And they came back and won the cup.
But at the end of the day, we can look at all that stuff and get a glimpse of it. But at the end of the day, it's one game. There is one game. Who do you got? Florida, Edmonton. There's other stuff going on, but these are the 2 teams. We've seen how they played all year. Florida is a great team. I think it would be premature.
You have a feeling that you have confidence that Florida's going to win Game 7.
I don't have confidence. I'm saying people are jumping way too fast to count them out.
I'm on that.
I think it's pretty
and I'm cheering for Florida.
Close to a 50-50.
I'm on the Florida wagon. I'm like, fuck, I want to see the Panthers get it done, because I would love that after the Coyotes get canned from the league and whatnot. And because they, for the longest time, Florida and the Coyotes were those 2 teams. It's like, hey, hockey doesn't work here. And we're seeing it work in Florida, and be like, fuck, you know what? They deserve a cup after last year and this year. I would love to see it. I don't see it happening now. Because this was the game.
They have too elite of a team to just fully count them out, but the last 3 games do not look good for them.
What did we say last game, though? We said if Florida wants to win the cup in Game 6 and just get it done with, shut down McDavid. They did. And they got pumped 5-1.
Yeah. Like you said, 2 empty netters.
Again, 2 empty net goals. But again, it's like McDavid could have even got a point on those. McDavid went pointless, and he was by far the most noticeable player on the ice.
Yeah, I got my notes on the game here, and like 18 minutes 55 seconds of time on ice for McDavid, 0 points. But I just put all caps. Still looked dangerous. Like every time he was on the ice, and there's a reason that he had no points. He like every time he'd get the puck in the offensive zone, 3 guys would corral in on him. He had no room to do his thing, which they had to do. He put up back-to-back 4-point nights. Like you have to stop that. Draisaitl needed to focus up on his one pass. They got a pass over because like it was a power play, and 3 of the 4 guys were on McDavid. It goes over to Draisaitl. He had like 7 seconds to corral the puck and shoot it, and he just like kept fumbling it.
Do you know the one thing that pisses me off from this game?
What's that?
Because I mean, again, the announcers are unbiased, but they're very clearly like kind of on the Oilers side. By the way, they spoke, and it was like in the second period, they're like, "Oh, you know," because I guess Draisaitl said going into Game 6, he's like, "I need to show up in this series," and they're like, "Oh, boy, is he ever? He's made his presence known in the series." Now it's like, no, he fucking hasn't. He had 1 assist, which, to be fair, fucking phenomenal assist.
Great pass.
But again,
great
it's like
pass.
It's not the Leon Draisaitl that we know. It's a 25% Leon Draisaitl, and they were like
he looked a bit better at 5-on-5 tonight, but yeah, he is not at that Draisaitl level. He's had a career almost like 1.5 points per game in the playoffs, and he is not that.
They were talking about Draisaitl like they were trying to suck a golf ball through a garden hose, like. Like that's how they were, and it's like, again, fucking phenomenal assist, but it's also like,
yeah,
again, it's like he wasn't like, it's not the Leon Draisaitl that we expect. And when he says, "I'm gonna make my," first of all, Leon Draisaitl saying, "I got to make my presence known going into Game fucking 6 of a series." Okay, first of all, you're clearly like, you know, not yourself, and second of all, it's not the Draisaitl we know. Again, great assist, but
he did show up. Like,
I mean, it was noticeable, but you know, you see him get those one-timers on the power play where he and he did enough to help him from that below the circle than Draisaitl on the power play, and he's not ripping it. He's catching passes funny, like he's very clearly injured. But again, it's like
got to be a lower body injury.
Like if you were listening on the radio, you'd be like, "Holy shit, Draisaitl's like the guy this game." But then when you watch, it's like, no, like it's still McDavid. He's just McDavid's just not getting the points tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. If you watch the game, you know that 0 points for McDavid does not tell the story. They've got a couple other great things going on. Obviously, we talked about Draisaitl's incredible saucer pass. Janmark also had a great saucer pass over to Henrique, who ended up scoring on that play. That was the second goal. Third goal, great finish from Hyman on a breakaway. A lot of guys are scoring on these breakaways. There's not a lot of breakaways that Edmonton's getting that they're not finishing on. Like they're not getting many per game, but the ones they are, they're burying it. 1-on-1 on Bobrovsky, they're getting it done.
Yeah. Oh, 100%, yeah.
Yeah, and their Skinner has been again fantastic in this game as well. The PK has looked absolutely elite. Like the Florida Panthers power play still looks dangerous out there, but they're clearly playing against a very, very good penalty kill from the Oilers. So it's been rough for the past 3 games for the Panthers for sure. Halfway through this game, 30 minutes in, they had 5 shots, only 5 shots, all by defensemen. Not a single forward had a shot before 10 minutes left in the second. And
I got something here.
In a Game 6 in the finals, that just feels unacceptable. I really wonder what the Panthers are feeling right now.
My buddy just sent me this. Stuart Skinner in games 4 through 7 during the 2024 playoffs. So that's the tail end of the King series because they won 5. That's games, you know, what I guess he missed 4 and 5 in the Vancouver series.
Yeah.
But anyways, and then throughout the Dallas series and now through this series against the Florida Panthers, in games 4 through 7 in the playoffs, Stuart Skinner, 10-0, 1 shutout, a 1.5 goals against average, and a .940 save percentage. Florida's fucking done. Florida's done.
I mean, it's a little cherry pick to only do those later games, but at the same time, you know, Vibes are vibes,
But that's
and
the thing,
they're
though.
tenfold for goalies.
Stuart Skinner doesn't show up at the start of the series, but in the tail end, when the team needs him the most, he's fucking on it. Like he's dialed in.
Yeah.
And even when you go to like what's the totals in the last 3 games since Edmonton? Like Edmonton 8-1, 5-3, 5-1. Like, you know, that's 2 games. Again, 2 shorthanded
It's
goals, but
crazy. We've
I
seen
didn't really
4
ever
teams
thought
play
Florida
this
had a
series.
chance tonight.
Like, we've legitimately
Yeah.
seen 4 teams this series. We saw the first 3 games of Edmonton, we saw the first 3 games of Florida, and then we saw 3, 4, 5 from Florida and 3, 4, 5 or 4, 5, 6 rather for Edmonton. Like, they just turned it on and the other team turned it off. Like, it's absolutely crazy. I really wonder who we get in Game 7. I can't imagine we get anything less of Edmonton.
And that's what I was
Game
going to
7.
say. So
But Florida's got to show up, right? At home, Game 7. There's no way they can not play with the urgency on that Game 7. Like, there's no way, right? Like,
but here's the thing.
Matthew Tkachuk didn't look like he was giving it his all tonight.
He's
either.
injured.
Like,
Tkachuk is injured.
He must be, because
and we talked about it. He's clearly dealing with
when
something.
the goalie was pulled tonight, same as Game 5. But other than that, he was good, but he wasn't driving that play. He's not that game breaker we know he can be. I'd love to see these teams at full health, man. Like, McDavid's the only guy on the ice other than Edmonton's third line that looks fully healthy. Like, it's too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, so but I mean, here's the thing, right? Here's where I'm at. Is games 1 through 6, sure, whatever. It's Game 7, but it's fucking Connor McDavid. And this very well could be his best chance of winning a cup in the city of Edmonton.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, next year, sure, maybe. But then again, your Draisaitl's going to get paid way more. Bouchard's going to get
you'll make it back.
Massive raise. McDavid, like, this is the best team I think McDavid potentially has around him in Edmonton.
It's a very real chance.
So then you look at that. It's like, then the way Stuart Skinner plays in the later half of the game so far in the playoffs this year, there's potential for Leon Draisaitl to finally explode. And then it's like you look at Florida and it's like, up 3-0. They have the brutal travel out to Edmonton and shit the bed. They fly out their entire families out for Game 4 in brutal conditions and long travel. Then they got to come all the way back. And that was all in one day. Like, it was like the morning of, all the families flew out for Game 4. They watched their team get shit pumped. And then they have to fly back later that day. So all in one day, they fly out to Edmonton, watch their team get just fist fucked 8-1. They fly back that night. They watch them get beaten Game 5, Game 6. They're flying all the way back out again. They're come back. Like, the Florida Panthers got to be just pissed off and angry. The fact that this is going to 7 now. That they've wasted all this time. They put their families through this and everything. And so it's like, again, as pissed off as the Florida Panthers are for all this, again, it's like you're going up against McDavid in Game 7. You're going up against Stuart Skinner, Game 7. Draisaitl, Bouchard, the way the Oilers are just rolling. I don't know. Again, I'm on the side of, like, I want Florida to win, but
yeah.
I think Edmonton's
above anything, I really hope it's a close game. I hope going into the third period next game, we still don't know the winner for sure. I want to see
Edmonton scores first, it's done. I think if Florida scores first, Florida maybe wins. It's going to be a close game, but I think if Edmonton gets the first goal, if they draw first blood, I think it's done.
It's
because we've seen Florida. As soon as Florida gets down and first goal scored against them, they crumble. A team that we think is so calm, cool, collected, they just fall apart. They're like one of those toys, the kids had where you turn the thing on their back and it makes them all stiff-armed and straight, and you push that button and it becomes loose and like a little ragdoll. That's what the Florida Panthers are. Yeah, that's what the Florida Panthers are.
But at the same time,
stiff, rock hard,
series, they've scored within like 30 seconds of Edmonton scoring. Like, Edmonton will score a goal and they're like immediately fire back. The one got called back,
but they can't come back to tie the game. They've yet to come back and actually tie a game, be like, all right, even blood now, let's duke it out. They're always chasing. And they're always trying to catch up to Edmonton.
We were saying all this stuff about Edmonton after 3 games, you know? Like, very few people had them pushing it to 5 games.
Because there was hope for Edmonton based on games 1 and 3. There's no hope for Florida maybe a little bit.
There really is, though. They're a fantastic team. Like, I don't know. I think Edmonton has a good chance of winning, but I think people are counting Florida out a bit too much. The back-to-back finals appearances, a President's Trophy, went up 3-0 for a reason. Like, all they need is that Bobrovsky game, the Barkov game, the Tkachuk game, and they have so many guys who can do it. I could see it being the Verhage, the Reinhart game. Hell, it could be fucking Eetu Luosterainen or Evan Rodriguez, who I think is the goal scoring leader in this finals somehow.
But the thing is, you look at Edmonton, they went down 3-0, and it's like Edmonton massively outplayed Florida game 1. Florida came out on top. Sure, Florida game 2, fine. Game 3, I thought was 50-50.
It was pretty
Games
close.
4, 5, 6, it was basically Edmonton just pumping Florida. Like, you could say in game 5, Florida made a game out of it, but it's like you went down 3-0.
Yeah.
You go down fucking 3-0 against Edmonton in game 7, you ain't coming back. You ain't winning that game.
Yeah.
Like, pack it in and be like, hey, we tried. Like, in 2 years in a row, we shit the bed in the Cup final. Like, so, I don't know. Yeah. I'm curious to see the lineup Florida rolls, because since they lost game 4, Stephen Lawrence came out for Ryan Lomberg. And then tonight we saw Kyle Poso come out for Nick Cousins. So I'm wondering, like, what are we going to see from Florida in Game 7? What lineup are we going to see?
That'll be really interesting. Nick Cousins and Lomberg both tonight are a 0 even on plus minus. Lomberg had 10 penalty minutes, but he did have 6 hits, which, that's what you're bringing Lomberg in for.
Was obviously a misconduct at some point late in the game.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like he
wasn't putting them at a massive disadvantage or anything. There was no extended power play.
It was literally 9 seconds left. Lomberg got a 10-minute misconduct. Same with Ryan McLeod.
Yeah, and like I said, in a 5-2 loss, neither of those guys were a minus. Bennett is a -4. Tkachuk a -3. Reinhart a -3. I don't know how many of those are. Probably at least 2 of them for most of those guys as an empty netter.
Well, yeah, because they'd all be out on the ice. So,
but
here's the thing:
Barkov was a -2 tonight, but I got to assume he was out there for both those empty netters, so he was probably even before those.
Yeah. Here's the thing, though: Game 7. There's no other games after this. McDavid is probably going to play half the game of regulation, because you've now got 2 days off before Game 7. And you don't need to, conserve McDavid for games down the road. It's like, this is it.
Yeah.
Win or lose, our final game of the season. Go get it done.
Yeah.
So, like, McDavid,
they got to protect him.
Be out there a fuck ton in Game 7, because again, no other games. It's you go out there, win or lose, we're done either way. Like, this is our season.
Yeah.
So you might as well go out there and lay it all on the line and take the rest of the summer to get ready for next season.
Yeah.
So and that's scary for Florida.
I would be so disappointed if Paul Maurice whispers in Nick Cousins' ears, sweep the leg, and we get in the first 5 minutes of the game, we get some freaking dude running McDavid in the most blatant penalty possible just to take, and they just eat a 5-minute major just to not play against McDavid.
If they were going to do that, it would be tonight.
I was going to say, out there, I don't think they're going to, because it's Game 7 now. But
we've got other guys that can fill in that role. No, I hope not. If it was going to happen,
but that would just be so disappointing. And I really hope it had. Yeah, I think that would have happened at either 5 or 6. And I'm glad we haven't had to worry about anything that bad. Florida is a notoriously pretty dirty team with a lot of the guys they have out there, and it hasn't been a massive storyline, a massive factor in these finals, and neither has the reffing, which I very much appreciate, because holy fuck, I want to cheer for the players, not for the refs to not have an off night. So on that side, it's been very good. These past 2 games have been so exciting and so fun to watch. I'm really excited for this Game 7, and I can't wait to see how both teams show up, and I hope it's a close game.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that kind of wraps up all of our coverage from Game 6, our preview for Game 7. Before we get out of here, Braden, your one shot here. What is not just your prediction, but the score prediction for Game 7?
I was about to cut you off. I thought you were going to do the outro, and I was going to ask you the same exact question. I am going to say that I think it's pretty quiet. I think nobody wants to make mistakes early on. I think we get out of the first period like 1-0, 0-0. I don't think there's more than 2 goals in the entire game after the first. I think they might explode a bit afterwards. There's some desperation in the third. I'm going to say 4-3 Oilers. I think it's a really close game. I think the last 2 minutes are going to be the most exciting hockey I've ever watched as a neutral fan. And I think
partial neutral fan, like, because you're not on the Florida Panthers wagon.
No, that's true. That's true. I don't like them. And to be fair, I'm not an Oilers fan. If you asked me before these playoffs, I don't know exactly where I'd put the Oilers, but they're definitely in my bottom 16 teams, probably on the lower half. You know, like I would say I dislike them more than I like them generally. They've, as a neutral fan, like I'm not cheering for them next season, but they've made a bit of a fan out of me in these playoffs. They've really had a magical run. It's hard to call them Cinderella, you know, where they finished, and McDavid obviously, but just watching greatness unfold is always fun to see. And the playoffs he's had,
100% not a Cinderella run with McDavid.
Like, no,
you can't have McDavid and Cinderella in the same sentence.
No, but it really felt like they were going against the evil empire in the Florida Panthers. They're so good. They've been so dominant. They made pretty tidy work of the Rangers. And between McDavid's play and particularly their penalty kill in their third line, I actually really like a lot of those guys' game. They're fun to watch. Not going to cheer for them past Game 7, but
so I'm
one game.
I'm kind of the same way as you. I'm going Edmonton, but I think it's similar to tonight, similar to the other games. I think Edmonton just pumps them like 4-1, and I think that's it.
I think it's going to be closer than that, but
unless I would love for the Florida Panthers to prove me wrong, and at least make a game out of it, and at least even if Edmonton wins it being a close right to the end game, I would love an overtime. But the way this has been going, I don't see Florida. I don't know. I think the way Edmonton's been rolling, they're on a roll. They got all the confidence in the world. Now all of Edmonton's families are going to be coming out to Florida here for Game 7 because Cup's in the building regardless. I just don't see. I don't see Florida winning this. I think Edmonton takes them pretty handily.
Fair enough.
But before we get out of here, I do have one thing.
Is there much to say about the Conn Smythe before Game 7?
Conn Smythe, I think I'm on the bandwagon now. I think McDavid gets it either way,
win or lose.
I think
Game 7 was a lot of people's qualifiers.
No, you can't give it to Bobrovsky after getting pulled, and I think Barkov's been too quiet in terms of point production in the Cup final. I think win or lose, I think McDavid gets it now.
Yeah, I think McDavid's got it pretty locked up. If it's like a 4-3 Panthers win and Barkov gets like a hat trick and an assist and is like and he wins them the Cup straight up in that game, I could see him giving it to Barkov then. But
in something like that,
it would have to be like he won Florida the Cup. It would have to be he stole it for them single-handedly for them to not give it to McDavid at this point.
Yeah, exactly,
at least that's my prediction. Who knows?
No,
maybe the idea of the losing team getting it is dead. Like maybe the voters just say, you know what, we don't like it anymore.
No, I think you're right. Unless Barkov has a legacy game where he single-handedly is the reason the Panthers are lifting the Cup, I think McDavid gets it.
Yeah, I think somebody has to have that game. Somebody has to. Either team, could be McDavid, could be somebody on the third or second line on Florida. Like somebody has to really clutch up in this game. I can't wait to see who.
Yeah.
Why is it on a Monday, man? Are you fucking kidding me?
It's on a fucking Monday of all.
They're not doing in-person entry draft anymore, right? It's all on computer.
Nope, this is the final year of it.
Okay. I was gonna say if it's like online now, why don't they just move it back? Like fucking let them wait a week and play game 7 on next Saturday. That's like it's stupid to wait a week. That's better than Monday. Are you kidding me?
The biggest game in the NHL in the last probably 20 years is going to take place on a Monday night in South Florida. That's fucking wild to think of.
Yeah, that Monday. Come on.
But
that's Monday's a national holiday in Canada.
Yeah. But we will be back.
At least in Edmonton.
We will be recording Monday night right after the game to do our raw reactions, everything to Game 7, because at that point we will be talking about whatever team wins the cup. I think it'll be Edmonton. You think it'll be Edmonton. So that we will be doing that on Monday night, and you guys will be getting that on Tuesday. And, kind of the usual time as we've been doing throughout the playoffs. And then we will be coming back with an episode maybe on Thursday or something, or maybe we'll just put one out super early on Friday as opposed to our regular at 12 o'clock Mountain Time on Friday for the draft, because it's a quick turnaround. The Cup's going to be awarded on Monday, and then, the first overall pick is going to be announced on Friday, and then the rest of the draft will take place the rest of Friday and Saturday. And then free agency is right around the corner a week from then on the Monday. So we've got a lot coming up here over the next week and a little bit.
Teams are clearly very amped to get some of their offseason moves going. Just want to clarify, because I actually don't know the answer to this. You said the first overall will be chosen on Friday. Are they doing the whole first round?
Pick. Yeah, the whole first round will be
okay. I was worried that they were bringing everybody out to announce Celebrini, and then we'll just wait for the rest of the first round.
No. Like the whole thing is the whole first round's on Friday, and I'm sure we're gonna have lots of fun stuff planned for that. We haven't quite talked about it, but we will have
unpredictable draft
planned for the draft there. Yes, actually, one thing about the draft, I'm just gonna say this. We're not gonna go into it, but the Anaheim Ducks do pick 3rd overall. And as of right now, there is talks that there is 8 players that they are considering for
It's the most
overall.
unpredictable 2 to 20 that I've, in my personal experience, have ever seen. I don't know when the next one would have been, but like everyone knows that they're taking Celebrini at 1. Locked, fine. But like I've seen some people have Demidov going 2nd. I've seen some people having him go at like 9. And these aren't just like schmucks on Twitter. These are like actual like insiders and scout people. Like,
but here's the thing, though.
People in the business have no clue.
Here's the thing, though. Yeah, Demidov, easily the 2nd best player in the draft. It has come from Elliot Friedman that there is a team, and I'm assuming Montreal, because Montreal really wants Demidov, that is spreading lies and rumors to other teams to steer them away from Demidov. That's what's going on with him right now.
I hope not. Jeez.
Is that, well, and that's a time of year. Like, teams are spreading lies and rumors to try and get guys to fall in a direction of their way. And it's already been confirmed with Demidov that, again, it's not confirmed what team, but I'm assuming Montreal is spreading rumors and lies around Demidov to get teams to back off from him so he drops in the draft.
Wouldn't it be funny if it was like Chicago, even though they've got the 2nd overall pick?
I was going to say, if Chicago wants him, they can have him. But I think, again, Chicago's interesting because I think what Chicago does completely decides how the draft's going to go. If they take a defenseman, I think you see a lot of other teams start to grab defensemen while they're available. Whereas if they take Demidov, then I think, teams are kind of scrambling, trying to figure out what they're going to do. It is going to be a fantastic time. And we will be back at some point next week, probably be either the Thursday or the Friday with kind of a whole draft preview. That will probably be a pretty long episode. So if you guys got a lot going on those days, look forward to that, because that will be a lot of coverage that you can listen to. As we'll probably talk about a lot of the prospects. Maybe we'll do a little bit of a mock draft of some sort. I don't know what the fuck we're gonna do, but maybe we'll figure out some bullshit along that side. But
yeah, we can also we probably won't do a deep dive or anything, but we could definitely talk about some of the draft questions that were asked to the rookies. I know a couple reporters have asked a lot of them, what teams asked this, what teams asked that, and There's some weird fucking questions in there, man. There's a lot of weird ones. I think it was Calgary was apparently asking like every guy, like, if you were an animal and you were in this situation, what animal would you be and what would you do? And it's like all these players were kind of like, what the hell? I thought you were gonna ask me, what kind of guy I am and how I play on the ice. Like, so there was a lot
I
of
think
funny
teams are just trying
reactions
to
to
have
that.
fun with it at this point because they got unlimited time with these players. But the most important thing, the very most important thing, the most important thing in the entire world, more than the Stanley Cup, is we thank you guys for your support in listening to the episodes, downloading, because we've been doing this for over a year now. Like, we're a little bit over a year at this point. This will be episode, I think, 71. We just did episode 69 a couple of days ago. Nice. But we do want to thank you guys for your continuous support as we've continued to see the numbers per episode trend up, trend in the right direction. And it is all thanks to you guys and your support for listening to us. And to continue your support, if you want, you can follow us on any of our socials. We're on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at SEU Hockey. Come over there. Come give us your predictions for Game 7. Give us your predictions for the draft if you want. We will be putting out lots of content on all of our socials, around Game 7 for the Cup, as well as the draft coming up for agency, because it is going to be a fucking hectic week. Like, from the point of the time the Stanley Cup is awarded, you go a week there, the draft is already going to be done, and we're going to be at the tail end of the first day of free agency. It is a jam-packed week. We are going to have just a shit ton coming at you guys. So you guys will have nothing but hockey content from us coming out, and good hockey content. We have a lot of good stuff coming up here for you guys.
Yeah, we got a lot coming up. So you covered all the bases. So
so once again,
see you on Monday, or enjoy the game on Monday, I guess, and we'll have the episode out on Tuesday
enjoy
morning.
the game Monday. We'll be back Tuesday. You have Edmonton 4-3. I have Edmonton 4-1. Feel free to message us, comment, shit talk us, harass us, kick us, whatever you want. Let us know your predictions for Game 7 in the draft. Once again, thank you for everybody for listening. As Braden said, enjoy the game on Monday. That's in South Florida, of all places. And we will see you guys next week on Tuesday.